Okay, everyone, shall we start? So good afternoon to all of you. After such a long time, huh? A week later, just like that, huh? 7, 8 days went off, huh? Okay. Anyways, so welcome you all to the group 4, right? In the group 4, the paper number 17, the name of the paper, everyone, cost and management audit. First of all, I'll give my brief introduction. As you already aware that in previous group also I taught you the law. So this is CA Rohit Grover, practicing chartered accountant, taking care of your paper number 17, that is called cost and management audit, right? So in this particular chapter, in this particular topic, what we are going to understand is everything about the auditing skills and how a practicing CMA incorporates his accounting, cost accounting and law and FM related, financial management related, FR related knowledge into his practice, right? But before entering into the subject, there is one brief minor thing which you need to understand that makes practicing CMA different from the other field. Now you all know that there are total 3 types of professionals in India who are actually engaged into the practice profession. One is known as practicing CA and one is known as what? Practicing CMA. And another one is known as practicing CS. First of all, though, we need to understand how one is different from what? Another. Then only we can enter into the stream of the subject called what? Auditing. Now, practicing CA, practicing CMA, and practicing CS, these are the 3 professionals holding. First of all, what is a common thing between all of them? All are holding COP. What is COP, everyone? Certificate of Practice. First of all, in India, if you want to come into a practice, right or not, you need to be a member of the institute, plus you need to hold a COP. Now, how do you become the member of the institute? As a practicing CA, CMA or CS, first you apply to your respective professional body, that is called icai, icmai and icsa, your membership number. What do we first apply? Membership number. So once the membership number will be allotted to you, you are going to call yourself as associate member of the institute. What you will call yourself as? Associate member of the institute. Now, sir, what do you mean by associate member? Association with the membership or association with the institute makes you an associate member. So I will start calling myself as an ACA, ACMA and ACS. What is A stands for? Associate. So once you apply for the membership number, you call yourself as an associate. But only calling yourself associate does not give you the authority to do the auditing profession. For auditing profession, you need to apply for a COP. What is COP, everyone? Certificate of Practice. So it means you'll be having 2 certificates if you want to come into the practice. One is known as what? Membership number and one is known as Certificate of Practice. So both the certificates will be individually and separately will be issued by the institute to you. So membership number is different from your COP. Holding a membership number does not give you the authority to do what? Auditing, or does not give you the authority to come into the practice. If you want to come into the practice, you have to understand 2 things. One is membership number and one is what? COP. What is COP, everyone? Certificate of Practice. After that, if you are in practice for 5 continuous years, if you are in practice for 5 continuous years, from associate, you will shift to fellow member. You will shift to which member? Fellow member. So suppose if I told you that I am a practicing chartered accountant. So I started practice in the year 2012. Now since then, I am into the practice since 14 years. So almost I'm already completed my 5 years of practice. So I can call myself as an FCA. Fellow Chartered Accountant. What do I call? Fellow. Likewise, cost and management accountant also, after holding a COP, once he completes the 5 years of practice, he or she can call himself or herself as a fellow cost and management accountant. What do we call as? Fellow. So the journey between associate to fellowship is 5 years of practice. How many years? 5 years. Once you will become a fellow, there's no another thing like throughout the life. Since how many years you are in practice, till how many years you are in practice, you will be in practice, you will be calling yourself as a fellow member only. Are you getting the point? So that is the difference between calling yourself as an associate member and fellow. So associate CMA and fellow CMA, what is the difference? 5 years of continuous practice. And how you can come into practice? By holding a membership number and what? COP, certificate of practice. That is the one thing you need to understand. Second thing, the second most important thing, what you need to understand that is, sir, after coming into practice, what I can call myself. Now see, as you get qualified as a CMA, institute gives you two options. One is going into the what? Employment, and one is coming into what? Practice. First of all, both the things cannot be done together. Either you can fully go into what? Employment, or you can fully come into what? Practice. If you are coming into practice, then only you are allowed to use the word called cost accountant below your name. Like say for example, if I am a qualified CMA but not holding a COP, so I can go to the institute and apply for the membership number. But suppose I have not applied for COP, so I cannot call myself as a cost accountant. I can call only myself as a CMA. Are you getting the one? The CMA Rohit Grover I can call myself, but I cannot call myself CMA Rohit Grover cost accountant. The word cost accountant you can only write when you are holding a certificate of practice. In your nameplate, be it at your office or be it at your residence, you cannot use the word called cost accountant until and unless you are in practice. So it means to call yourself a designated cost accountant, you must be holding a COP. What is COP? Certificate of practice. Just holding a membership number does not give you the right to write the word called what? Cost accountant below your name. Did you all understand? And what is the journey of being associate to fellow? 5 years of practice. So then you can call yourself as a associate cost accountant, and then after 5 years you can call yourself as a fellow cost accountant. The major thing which you need to learn is one who can come into the auditing profession, the one who is a CMA qualified plus having a membership number, holding a what? COP. Then only you can call yourself as a designated what? Cost accountant. Otherwise, you cannot call yourself as a cost accountant. You can only prefix the 3 letters CMA before your name, but not the word cost accountant. I hope you got this clarity, right? Now coming to these 3 professionals, what these 3 professionals do, when it comes to this person called what? Practicing CA, we do the audit of what? Financial statements. We do the audit of what? Financial statement. They do not interfere into the cost audit, because cost audit is an audit of cost records. Now, how many of you know section number 148 mein, we have done one form called CRA1. What is the form number? CRA1. There are total 30 cost records registers which every company has to maintain. Are you getting the point? If you have those cost record registers, and if you are doing cost accounting, you have the cost statements, you are following cost principles, then a practicing CMA comes and he does the audit of your cost records. What does he do? Audit of your cost record. This practicing CMA does not interfere into which statement? Financial statement. And practicing CA does not interfere into what? Cost records. So 2 dedicated qualified professionals are there. One who is going to do the audit of what? Financial statement is known as chartered accountant, and one who is going to do the audit of what? Cost records is known as cost accountant. Are you getting the point? What does this practicing CS does? He does the audit of laws and compliances. What he does the audit of? And we call it as a secretarial audit. What do we call it as? Secretarial audit. Now, under the Companies Act 2013, there's one huge topic called audit and auditors chapter. What is the name? Audit and auditors. Starting from section number 138, we talk about internal auditor. What do we call out? Internal. I hope you know, already have a little bit of brief idea about internal audit. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between cost internal auditor and cost auditor? Cost internal auditor means what? Up now, the companies like, Reliance, companies like Adani, companies like, ONGC, Coal India Limited, they can't only be dependent upon one cost auditor who is going to come at the year end and he will finish their cost audit. They need a regular updates, where we are going wrong, what are the frauds and errors in the entity. So they hire one auditor. That auditor, 365 days, what they keep with them is known as a which auditor? Internal auditor. So be it a financial internal auditor or be it a cost internal auditor, section number 138 talks about the which audit? Internal. Then we have section number 139 to section number 147. They talk about statutory auditor. Which auditor? Sir, who does the statutory audit in India? Practicing CA. Practicing CMA is not allowed to do the statutory audit, and practicing CS is not allowed, only practicing CA. Then we have a dedicated section called section number 148, which talks about the which audit? Cost audit. And all these chapters, all these topics we have already covered in our group 3 law mein. There was one chapter called audit and auditor. And then we have a section number what? 204, which talks about which audit? Secretarial audit. We talk about what? Secretarial audit. So this is done by the practicing CS, this is done by the practicing CMA, and the statutory audit is done by the practicing CA. Did you get the point? And all these three people can only do the audit if they are holding what? COP, Certificate of Practice. So when I gave my introduction, I told you myself that I am a practicing chartered accountant. So I can only use the word chartered accountant if I am holding a word COP. Otherwise, I can only prefix the word CA, CMA or CS before my name without holding a COP. You can't call yourself as a chartered accountant, cost accountant and company secretary. I hope this is the basic information you got. Right? Now, coming to your profession now, first of all, let me give you some practical aspective knowledge of your profession that is called cost and management audit, right or not? First of all, you can call yourself as a cost auditor, then also there is no problem. You can call yourself as a cost accountant, then also there's no problem. You can call yourself as a cost and management accountant, then also there's no problem. Are you getting the point? So either of the three names you can use below your name as a what? Designation. Cost auditor, cost accountant or cost and management accountant. Are you getting the point? Now, first of all, you need to understand practicality. I'm telling you what you need to know about present scenario in the market. Present scenario mein, if we'll talk about the practice mein practicing CAs right now are holding the majority of the auditing field. Reason being very simple. Income Tax Act, be it 1961 and be it the new one, Income Tax Act 2021, no proposal has been granted by the government of India to add practicing CMAs in tax audit. Actually, proposal was there, but it was rejected by the whom? Government of India. Now, in the new act also, only practicing CA can do the which audit? Tax audit. So, when it comes to practicing CMA, very few people come to the practice. What is the reason? Hardly 5 to 6% qualified practicing CAs come and hold COP and come into the practice. Reason being very simple. Why? Because coming into the practice of cost accountancy is very rare. That's why you might have seen that when you do your 15 months of articleship also, you have a two option. Either you can do it under a practicing CA or you can do it under a practicing CMA. If I have to tell you the, the figures of presently in Hyderabad also, if we have 4,000 practicing CA firms in Hyderabad, we hardly have 11 to 20, maximum 20 practicing CMA firms in Hyderabad. That kind of deviation, 4,000 on one side and 20 firms on what? Another side. So that makes this profession very less popular when it comes to what? Auditing. But that is the only reason that wherever the limited audits are there, your demand is also going to be very high because your supply is very less in the market. So cost audit ka fees, when it comes to fee, when it comes to the remuneration, it is going to be quite high. So what the government of India has done, government of India has divided the whole Indian manufacturing, mining, production, assembling, extraction and processing industries. What are the 6 industries we have named? Manufacturing, mining, production, assembling, extraction and processing. All these 6 industries have been divided into 39 categories. How many categories we have? 39 categories. So whole India mein, let it be any kind of manufacturing, let it be any kind of production, any kind of processing, everything is divided into 39 categories. How many? Out of which 6 is regulated sector and remaining 33 are non-regulated sector. So total how many sectors we have? 39. Total how many? 39 categories of sector, whatever you want, out of which 6 are what? Regulated and 33 are what? Non-regulated sector. Now, what do you mean by regulated? What do you mean by non-regulated? Non-regulated does not mean that ki central government can't interfere. Central government can interfere, but to the partial manner. Which manner? Partial. But regulated sectors are completely under the control of whom? Central government. Now, question is, sir, do we have to remember all 39? Answer is no. You just need to remember the 6. Now, what are the 6 we have? Step, father and daughter. What is the total 6 we have? Step, father and daughter. Sugar, telecom, electricity, petroleum, fertilizer, drugs and pharma. What are the 6 sectors? Sugar, telecom, electricity, petroleum, fertilizers, drugs and pharma. These 6 are known as what? Regulated sector. Other than these 6, remaining 33 are what? Non-regulated. So you don't have to remember that list. Are you getting it? For the purpose of examination? Yes, practically you should know, but for the purpose of examination, you don't have to remember the list. Are you getting the point? So any upcharge. Now, if I'll ask you iron and steel, non-regulated. Rubber, tire manufacturing, aerospace, petroleum and gas, regulated. Now, did you understand? So you just need to remember the 6 sectors. What are the 6 sectors we have? Sugar, telecom, petroleum and gas. Then we have electricity. Then what do you say? Fertilizers. And then we have. Are you getting the point? So total 39. 39 में से 6 are what? Regulated sector. Remaining 33 are what? Non-regulated sector. Now on these sectors only we have to do the audit. So it means total how many sectors are there? 39. On which our total auditing profession is based upon. So if your client is into the manufacturing, mining, processing, production, assembling or extraction, or he belongs to either the 6 regulated sector or the 33 what? Non-regulated sector, you will simply be appointed by them as a which auditor? Cost auditor. But cost audit is not like a statutory audit. Statutory audit which are being done by the practicing CAs are on yearly basis. Which basis? Every year. That's why we call it statutory. What do you mean by statutory? Compulsory every year. Statutory means compulsory every. Cost audit is not a statutory audit. Cost audit is a turnover based audit. It's a which based audit? And that too, we have to see the turnover of preceding financial year. So tell me right now, which financial year is going on? 26, 27. What is the preceding financial year? If 25, 26 ka turnover I'll see, that will decide whether my client is going to get audited in what? 26, 27 or not. Are you getting the point? So turnover of which year? Preceding financial year. Now there are some turnover limits in regulated sector and non-regulated sector that we'll understand when once we'll start with the word cost audit ka topic. Are you getting the point? So 50, 25 is the one limit and 135 is the another limit for the regulated sector and non-regulated sector. But what I'm trying to tell you is these are certain figures which should be there with you throughout your life. So if someone will ask you in an interview also, how many sectors do we have which gets covered under a cost audit? You will say 39 sectors. How many? Out of which 6 are what? Regulated and 33 are what? Non-regulated. 39 sectors we have. Did you understand the point? If someone will ask you, sir, how many cost records we have? You will say 30 cost records. How many? So how many sectors do we have? 39 sectors we have, out of which 6 are regulated sector, 33 are. How many cost records we have? How many rules we have? We have 6 rules. How many rules we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Total how many rules? Sir, how many forms we have? We have 4 forms. So total how many sectors we have? 30. Actually 39 sectors are there. There were 44 sectors, but they got regulated into 39 sectors. So now presently you have 39 sectors. How many records we have? In our institute's book, you will find 31. But that 31st record is not a record actually. It is a unit of measurement. What do we call? Unit of measurement. That itself is not record. So it is given 31 in number. But actually there are only what? 30 cost records. How many rules do we have? 6 rules we have. How many forms do we have? 4 forms we have. How many CAS, cost accounting standards we have? Now we have 25. Up to June 2026, we used to have 24 cost accounting standards. How many? 24, which you have read in your cmainter also. List might be knowing material cost and electricity cost, utility cost, like that we had 24. Like in the financial accounting, we have AS and Ind AS. What do we have? Now, why do we need AS and Ind AS? To prepare financial statements. To prepare what? Then why do we need CAS? To prepare cost statements and cost records. To prepare the cost statements and cost records, we need what? CAS, cost accounting standard. Now, do we have essays for the practicing CAS? What is essay? Standards or not? We have CAAS, cost auditing and assurance standards. What is the full form? How many? Only 4. These 6 figures you should remember throughout your life. This is how a practicing CMA should preserve this knowledge throughout his life. So we have total 30 cost records. We have total 39 industries or sectors or categories. We have 6 rules. We have 4 forms. We have 25. Now, what is the 25th one, which is recently been added? That is known as inventory valuation. We never had inventory valuation, LIFO, FIFO, first in, first out, and all those things. Earlier, we never had this standard, but now 25th standard has been added, and that is applicable for your December 26 examinations. Remember, this amendment came on 12th February 2026. What is the date of amendment? And the gap between the amendment and applicability of that amendment in your exam should be minimum what? 6 months. So that's why it was not applicable for June 26 examination, but it does apply to your December 26 exam. So instead of 24, we have now 25 cost accounting standards to do. Are you getting the point? And how many cost auditing and assurance standards we have? 4. So 30, 39, 6, 4, 25 and 4. These you remember. So tell me last time how many sectors? 39, out of which 6 are regulated. Tell me the regulated sector. Sugar, telecom, electricity, petroleum and gas, fertilizers, drugs and pharma. And remaining are unregulated sectors. How many cost records we have? 30. How many cost accounting standards we have? 25. How many cost auditing and assurance standards we have? 4. Are you getting? How many forms do we have? 4. And how many rules we have? 6 rules we have. Are you getting the point? These are the basic information about this subject you should know before entering into this subject. Are you getting the point? And let me tell you again, it is not a regular audit. It's a which audit? Turnover based audit. As and when your turnover is matching, the audit will take place. If turnover is not matching, no audit will take place. Did you understand the point? The audit is only and purely dependent upon turnover, but not cost records. Are you getting the one? अब जैसे cost records once applicable, it is always applicable. Once your cost records you have started, ऐसा नहीं है कि 1 year you will prepare, 2nd year you will not prepare. So once cost records you have prepared, you will start preparing it. But audit of that cost records is based on which base? Turnover base. Turnover matching, cost audit. Turnover not matching, no cost. So it is an irregular audit. Which audit? This is a basic reason why CMAs after getting qualified does not come into practice. Why? Because first of all, the area of audit is very limited. That is called which audit? Only cost audit. And second major reason is what? It is not yearly or regular audit. It's a which audit? Turnover based. Suppose if the 1 year client ka turnover is meeting, you are doing that audit. Next year, if it is not matching, you are not doing the audit. So that makes uncertainty in your revenue. That is the biggest reason why CMAs are not coming into this profession. I think in a coming 1 or 2 years, you will find that the cost audit also will be like a statutory audit that is required to be conducted on these entities on yearly basis. But so far, it is a turnover based audit. It is not a regular audit. So this is the basic minimum prescribed information you should have before starting this subject. So let's wrap up what we have done in the last 5-10 minutes. Tell me one thing, whom do we call CMA and whom do we call cost accountant? A cost accountant is different from CMA. A cost accountant is the one who is a member of what? Institute plus he is holding a what? Only then you can write the word called what? Cost accountant below your name. Otherwise you are not allowed. Sir, where we are going to read, we have 5 marks of portion called professional ethics. What is the name? One small topic is there. You can see there. here in this particular chapter, basics of the cost audit, we will learn one topic called what? Professional ethics. There I will tell you, you have Cost and Work Accountants Act 1959 to learn, in which we are going to learn so many things. What are the do's and don'ts of practicing CMA and a non-practicing CMA? There we'll learn, and I'll make you understand also why I was saying cost accountant can only be used by the person who is holding a COP. Second thing, what audit we do? Cost audit. But along with that, nowadays for management audit also, they have started asking and hiring which auditors? Cost auditors or practicing CMAs. So that's why the name of your subject now, I hope you can understand. What is the name? Cost and management audit. So it means now we are eligible for doing cost audits as well as what? Sir, are they both same? They are completely different audit. Nothing is same, completely opposite to each other. But practicing CMAs slowly are entering into the other fields. Why? Because giving everything in the hand of practicing CA is like creating a monopoly. Are you getting now? So to break that ice, they are allowing the practicing CMLs also to come into the profession. Now, internal audits we can also do. We can do the management audits also. We can do operational audits also. We can do quality audits also. Environmental audit also. Energy audits also. Club, hospitals, cinema hall. Different types of audits we can enter into. Now, in the Banking Regulation Act also amendment is coming where the practicing CMAs are going to be added in the definition of bank auditor also. So sooner or later you will find the growth in the profession. But today I can say that it is quite a limited growth. Why to put you on the other side saying that practice mein that much of growth is there? People who come into practice, they are earning good money because there are very few people who are coming into what? Practice. Majority of you are going towards what? Employment. And obviously that's a truth also ki after spending 4.5 years in this particular profession, you all are eagerly waiting for being the financial independent person. So obviously the best opportunity for you is to go and do the job first. Why? Because as and when 4-5 years are over, you would like to get financial independence. So that's why most of the people go for a job first instead of coming into practice. I think practice may you should not come alone. If you have a cluster of friends and they're ready to take 1 year or 2 years of little bit of risk, then only they should come into the practice. Or I will also over the period of time tell you how eventually later on from your employment you can jump into what? Practice. But that too after 5-6 years of tasting the corporate culture you should come. But anyways, these are the different things. So let's now concentrate on our subject. What is the name of the subject, everyone? Cost and Management Audit. Paper number 17, the first paper of your group 4. Same way the law had the group 3 ka first paper 13. Now it is what? 17. Cost and Management Audit. Now about the curriculum, about the portion what we have in our portion, that's what we are going to discuss. How much weightage each and every chapter is going to have, what we are going to read inside the chapter. So today we'll have a introduction type of class only, so that tomorrow or in the later part of today's class, once we'll start the chapter, it should not look alien topic to you, right? So let us first understand your total subject, you can see that is divided into 4 sections. What is a section A talks about? Cost audit. It talks about the cost audit. Section 2 talks about what? Management audit. Section 3 talks about internal control, internal audit, operational audit and other related issues. And section number 4 talks about forensic audit and anti-money laundering. Now, forensic audit and anti-money laundering is the recently added part D. Earlier, it was not a part of your 2016 portion. So 2022 portion mein these 2 chapters have been added. Now let's understand one by one what each chapter is going to give you. Now, coming to the cost audit, the composition of the cost audit in your examination is how many marks? 50 marks. Are you getting the point? It means cost audit being the major part is going to come in your examination for 50 marks. Now, what is the first chapter we have? Basics of cost audit. Here we are going to learn the main same chapter which we have done at your intermediate level. What is the name of the chapter if you remember? Company audit. Do you remember? We are going to talk about section number 148 first. Then we'll talk about section number 140, 139, qualification, disqualification, resignation, removal. All those sections which are applicable to statutory auditors. Some sections are equally applicable to whom? Cost audit. So basics of cost audit mein we are going to learn this. Plus we are also going to learn professional ethics. What we are going to learn? professional ethics we are going to learn. Sir, what do you mean by professional ethics? I already told you CWA Act is there in your portion. Cost and Work Accountants Act. What is the name of that? Basically, that will tell you how a CMA is differentiated from a cost accountant. Like I told you, COP is the difference between calling someone as a CMA and calling the same person as a cost accountant. So all those things are written in that chapter only. So we will understand professional ethics as well as the basics of what? Cost audit. Then we have the second chapter. In the second chapter, we are going to understand what? Companies, cost record and audit rules. We call them as CRA rules. What do we call them? I hope you remember forms are there. What are the, how many forms we have? 4 forms. At your intermediate level, you have done that. And in law also, in the final, we have done that. CRA stands for what? Cost, records and audit. CRA stands for cost, records and audit. So that is what the same rules. And how many rules I told you? 6 rules are there. So rule 1 to 6, we are going to learn it here. Are you getting the point? So that is why the topic name is cost, records and audit. So this is what we call it as CRA, rules 2014 as what? Amended. Are you getting the point? So here we have practicals also. We have what? Practicals. So let me tell you first of all, out of your total 100 marks of portion, minimum 20 to 25 marks of practical questions will come in the examination. Plus 70 to 75 marks or 75 to 80 marks of descriptive questions will come. Are you getting the point? Out of which you know that MCQs are also going to come into your what? Examinations. But remember, even though it is a theoretical subject, you do have practical questions. And the first practical chapter which we have is the chapter number 2 only, where we will do value added statement practicals and integral and non-integral accounts wale practicals which you had at your costing. I hope you remember we used to have profits as per the which records? Financial records. Am I correct? And then we used to add and what? Less. And we get the profits as per the which record? Cost record. So that integral and non-integral practicals we have plus value added statement on a net value added statement type of practicals also we have. That's what we are going to understand in chapter number 2. So what is the name of the chapter number 2? Cost records and audit rules 2014. And here we are going to understand everything about what? Cost audit. I told you CWA Act ka hint. We are going to get it here. Who does the cost audit? What is the basics of cost auditor, objectives and all those things. So tell me, if I have to ask someone a cost auditor, is he a CMA or practicing CMA? So practicing CMA can only be called as a which auditor? Cost auditor. After that, I told you that we have cost accounting standards. What do we have? Cost accounting standards. Total how many we have? 25 cost accounting standards we have. And do you remember in accounting we use a generally word GAAP? Generally accepted accounting principle. So what is the meaning of this GACAP? Generally accepted cost accounting principles. Are you getting the point? Instead of calling it as financial accounting principles, we call them as cost accounting principles. So that we have in this chapter. Again, this chapter is a mix of what? Theory and what? Practicals. It is also a mix of theory as well as what? Practicals. Now let me tell you one thing. Out of total 24 ka, let me tell you, and because 25th are new hai, so we don't have the past history of questions of 25. So first 1 to 12 CAS. What is CAS? Cost accounting. They are the favorite for the examiner when it comes to practical questions. So if you really want to score good marks in practicals and you are good in practicals, like which we are going to be, then in that case 1 to 12 should be your concentration. 13 to 24, when it comes to 13 to 24, they are the most favorite for the examiner to call in the theory way. Theory ke liye the best standards are what? 13 to 24, and for the practicals the best standard are what? 1 to 12. Are you getting the point? And 25th ka background we don't have. Why? Because it is recently added. So December may only you will come to know whether the theory is going to come or whether the what? Practical is going to come. Are you getting the point? But I think it will be very similar to your AS2. What is AS2? Inventory valuation. Most of the things are similar to that only. But yes, we will come to know exactly in the December 26th. So that is what we are going to learn in overview of cost accounting standards and GACAPs. Can you read the next chapter, please? What is the next? This is what I told you we have in our portion. How many? 4. cost auditing and assurance standard 101, 102, 103, 104. So in total, how many are there? 4 cost auditing and assurance standards. Basically, these 4 standards will teach us what? These 4 standards will teach us how to do cost audit. Cost audit का planning कैसे करते हैं? How do we do plan our cost audit? अच्छा, tell me a very simple thing. Suppose Coal India Limited का audit is coming to you. You are a practicing CMA. Coal India Limited का audit is coming to you. Please tell me what is the first thing you would like to do once you will receive the appointment letter as a cost auditor of Coal India Limited. We never go to the client's place unplanned. Always remember, our whole audit is divided into 3 stages. One is called planning stage, one is execution, and one is reporting. What are the 3 stages? Planning, execution, and reporting. All these 3 things, how to do planning of your cost audit, how do you execute your cost audit, and how do you report your cost audit ke evidences and credentials, that we are going to understand in what? CAS. So what is the full form? Cost audit and assurance. What do you mean by cost audit? So you understood. We will do the audit of cost records. What do you mean by assurance? Assurance means giving opinion. We never give guarantee. We give what? Reason. We do sample checking. What do we do? We never, now try to understand. 365 days, client is doing the manufacturing. How many days? And you hardly do your cost audit in 12-15 days. So it's very inappropriate, or it is not practicably possible for us to do the audit of each and everything what you have done in how many days? So we do audit sampling. What do we do? So we don't check all the invoices. We check what? Few of them. And when we are checking few of them, am I checking 100% or less than 100%? So you can't expect a guarantee from us. Don't expect a guarantee. We give what? Opinion. What do we give? Opinion. And in opinion, we call it as assurance. So that's why CAAS ka full form is cost audit. And how to express an opinion, that also we'll learn in what? These 4 CAAS. That is what the brief introduction of the chapter number 5. So tell me, what was first chapter? Basics. Then we'll learn what? Cost records, rules, CRA rules. Then we'll learn what? Who is a cost auditor? Everything about the cost audit. Then we'll learn what? Cost accounting standards and generally accepted cost accounting principles. Then we'll learn cost auditing, and then we'll learn a very important topic that is called what? Cost audit program. Anybody is having an idea? What do you mean by cost audit program? Okay, let me tell you one thing, very simple manner mein. Now see, let's understand one basic thing about the cost audit first. Ki if someone gets appointed, how the things happen. Try to understand this. First of all, suppose you are a cost auditor. You never get appointed directly. First, there is one client who will send a proposal to you. If we want you to be our which auditor? Cost audit. They do not directly appoint you. They send you a proposal. If we want you to be our which auditor? Cost audit. It means they are seeking my consent. Am I interested in doing the cost audit or not? So I'm a practicing CMA. I'll get a proposal. Say for example, letter, hand delivery letter, or via email. They will send me a proposal. Now what will happen? Once they will send me the proposal, audit does not start. As a auditor, you first send what? AEL to the client. What do we send? Audit engagement letter. What is the full form? Or you can call it as cost audit engagement letter. I'm taking the generic term audit engagement letter. Now, who is sending this to whom? Proposed cost auditor, not auditor. Auditor will call ourselves once we'll get the appointment letter. Did we get the appointment or only proposal? So we are a proposed cost auditor, will send what? Audit engagement letter to the home client. Sir, what? Defining my terms and conditions. Sir, this is going to be my scope. If you are okay with my scope, if you are okay with my what? Objective, I will tell you the meaning. If you are okay with my what? Role, and these are my what? Responsibility. And this is what the fee I will charge. And this is what report I will give. All these terms and conditions, who is telling to whom? Cost auditor. Proposed cost auditor is telling to the client. He said, this is my scope. What do you mean by scope? This is my boundary. I will do what and I will not do what, that I will decide. You please don't interfere because I am an independent cost auditor. Which auditor? So boss, this is my boundary, scope. What is the second word? Objective means what? Sir, I'm here not to give you guarantee. I'm here to express an opinion. I will give you reasonable assurance. Don't expect absolute assurance from me because I'm going to do sampling. Who is clarifying this to whom? Again, auditor is clarifying that to the whom? Client. This is my objective. Next one, role. I'm here as an external cost auditor. I'm not here as an internal cost auditor. So don't tell me what to do, what not to do. That who will listen? Internal auditor. Who will listen to you? I'm not internal auditor. I'm an external cost auditor. So my role is external, not what? Internal. You want to tell what to do, what not to do, tell to your which auditor? Internal. Not to me as a cost auditor, external cost auditor. This is my role. And what is the last one? My responsibility is to come and check anything in your office. Be it your cost statements, cost records, cost vouchers, cost principles, cost accounting, anything I can check, and it is your responsibility to assist me in every information which I'm looking for. Who is telling all these terms and conditions? Auditor. Then what is the fifth one? Boss, this is my fee structure. This is how I'll collect my fees, maybe 50% in the beginning or 50 at the later, or progressive. And last but not the least, report. I will issue you the CRA 3, but I will issue you cost audit report. If you're okay with these terms and conditions, what will happen? Now, client, after listening to your terms and condition and you listening to whose terms and condition? Client. It's not a one way. It's a two-way communication. You are telling your terms and condition. You're also listening the terms and conditions of the client. Once that will be decided, finally, client will send you one letter that is called appointment letter. Which letter? Means client means what? Board of directors will send you the appointment letter. Okay, congratulations, we agree with your terms and conditions and you have been appointed as a which auditor? Did you understand the step number one? What is this step number one called? We call it as preliminary engagement activity. What is the word? Why I am using the word preliminary? Before getting appointed, this is a little bit of homework which gets exchanged between whom and whom? Client and auditor, proposed auditor. Now I can say I'm the official cost auditor of the client. There comes the stage number two. Stage number two is known as planning. Why I'm telling you all these things, you will come to know in the next 5 minutes. What do you mean by planning? Now we'll divide planning into three parts. Planning, strategy, and the last word is known as program. That is what our chapter name is. What is the name of the chapter I told you? Cost audit program. Now let me tell you one thing. What is the meaning of planning? What do you mean by planning is, planning means acquiring knowledge on client's business. Now please tell me one thing. Until and unless you don't know your client, you can't enter at whose place? Client's place and start doing the audit. ऐसा नहीं होता कि today you got the appointment letter, tomorrow you jump to the client's place and saying, okay, bring me your cost records. Which cost records he's maintaining, how he's maintaining, he's into manufacturing, he's into mining, he's into extraction, he's into production. You never did the R&D on your client. What is R&D? Research. So researching on your client, getting the information on your client is known as planning stage. Which stage? उसे बोलते हैं AKOCB, full form, acquiring knowledge on client's business. Once you know your client, you will develop your team. We call it as AET, Audit Engagement Team. What do we call? Tell me one thing. Let's say, for example, you are getting the audit of Dr. Reddy's laboratory. You're getting the audit of manufacturer of medicines, pharmas and tablets and medicines and vaccinations. Am I correct? Okay, pharma sector. Which sector? Regulated or non-regulated? Regulated. Now try to understand. You are a cost auditor or you are a pharmacist? You are a cost auditor. But once you will go and do the audit of Dr. Reddy's laboratory, will you check their inventory, manufacturing process? Now please tell me how two chemicals made one COVID vaccine. Do you know how that medicine is being made? Now it means as a cost auditor, I cannot do the audit if I don't have experts and professionals in my team. So I have to develop a team according to the nature of business of my client. So tell me, what do we do first? Strategy first or planning first? First, acquire the knowledge on whose business. After that only you will develop your team. Are you getting the point? Now, while doing the planning, I did so many plannings. I did so many R&D on my client. And while building my team, I have, say for example, 20, 30 people in my team. You will do this work, you will do that work, you will take care of inventory, you will go and check GST return, you check cost records. Now tell me, these many people in my team and this much of planning in my head, it is very difficult to keep it in your ear. So what we do, we put our planning and what? Strategy on a piece of paper. That is known as what? Program. So it is the written version. It is a which version? Of your what? Planning and your what? Strategy. So when I put my planning and strategy on a piece of paper, okay, this is what I planned and this is what I strategized. Now fold that paper, put it in your pocket and now enter the whose place? Client's place. Let me correlate it with your day-to-day life. Say for example, if I'll tell you I'm going to buy the two products from the DMart, one is 5 kgs of atta and 5 kgs of rice. How many items I told you? You will simply go inside, buy and come out. But if I'll tell you to buy monthly grocery, can you keep that in your mind, monthly grocery, or you will prepare a slip? That's the major reason we also have to prepare a slip. Now tell me one thing, if I'll send you guys to the DMart for the monthly grocery, you prepare a slip, what do you do? What do you do with that slip? You keep the slip open, you take a trolley, and as and when you are crossing the shelf, do you pick up the item and put it in your thing? And what do you put? Tick mark, so that it will not be duplicated again. So once your total round is over, first floor, second floor, third floor, did you get the whole slip or not? Then you go to the, what do you say, billing counter and get it billed. Same way, this slip, what is the name of the slip? Program. I'll put it in my pocket. Okay, so imagine this is my checklist. This is my which list? Okay, GST checked. Cost records checked. Cost accounting standards followed or not? Checked. Are you getting the point? Whether the cost statements given or not? Checked. So we also same way put the tick mark on our checklist. As and when our cost audit progresses, things which we have already done, we put a tick mark. So putting the tick mark is known as audit. तो अगर अपन ऑडिट की फुल फॉर्म देखें तो क्या है? ऑल यू डू इज टिक ओनली. All you do is tick. That is actually not actual full form. It's just a irrelevant PJ. Poor joke. But all you do is what? Tick on. Once my this checklist will be over, then I will say, okay, my audit is what? Completed. So putting your total planning and strategy on a piece of paper is known as what? Okay. Moving ahead. So we did the audit. Now what we will do? Once the planning stage will be over, there comes the third stage is known as execution stage. Which stage? तो पता है execution में हम लोग क्या करते हैं? In the execution stage, we collect what? Evidences. Because do we need to prove our client कि are you true and fair or you are not true and fair? We give positive report and negative. So either it is positive report or it is what? Negative. You can only support your opinion with the help of what? Evidence. We call it as SAAEs. Sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. That we collect in a which stage? Execution. Now, once the evidences are collected, you will do analysis of those evidences. What you will do? I would rather use a word called evaluation. What is the word you will do? After doing evaluation, you will reach to conclusions. Not conclusion, I'm saying you will reach to conclusions. Now, let's say for example, you all are the departments, 4 departments of my client. Are you getting the point? Maybe this department is superbly done. This one is also working very fine, sound, but there's a problem in that department. So I have 4 conclusions on my client. How many? After these 4 conclusions, they will be converted into one opinion. Opinion can never be many. Opinion is always one. Conclusions can be many. The number of conclusions put together, I will express one opinion. Am I happy with the client or not happy with the client? And this opinion is given in the form of written report. This is how your audit starts and ends. This whole cycle is known as cost audit. So tell me, how the cost audit starts first? Proposal. We sent our terms and condition. We listen to their terms and condition. We got an appointment letter. We got appointed as a what? Auditor. Now I will start doing my planning, acquiring the knowledge on client's business. Then I will do my strategy. I'll build my team. And when I'll put my planning and strategy on a piece of paper, we call it as program. Once my program is ready, now I will enter the whose place? Client's place. I will start doing execution. Execution is what I collected. Evidences ko what I did, evaluated. After evaluated, I reached so many. After so many conclusions, I drawn one. An opinion I'll not give oral, I'll give it in the form of. That is what CRA 3 is all about, cost audit report. This is how your whole chapters are divided into. Are you getting the point? So that was the meaning of the chapter number 6 called what? Cost audit. Now let's understand what is the name of the next chapter. Can you read? Cost audit what? Documentation. And then audit process, just now I told you. And what? I hope you are able to see this stage also, which I just not told you, but you don't know the first word. What is the first word? अब क्या होता है cost audit document? Once I gave my cost audit report, that is the last step. Now I gave my cost audit report to my client. Boss, this is my cost audit report. Now, what do you think? This is the last stage of the audit? Answer is no. This is the second last stage of the audit. The last stage of the audit is known as cost documentation. What do we call it as? Cost audit documentation. Now see, once my audit is over, first my major focus was to give a report. So I gave a report. Now my whole table in my office is filled with papers. Are you getting the point? There is so many papers which I collected from whose place? Client's place. Evidences, my planning, strategy, audit engagement letter, appointment letter. So many papers are there. Now what would I do? I will take one file. I'll assemble these what? Papers. Will punch them into the one file. Are you in sequence? How it started and how it what? Ended. Will I put that in one file? I'll close that file. That file is right now in my hand is known as what? Cost audit document, which I need to preserve in my practicing CMA office for the next 7 years. How many years? 7 years. So why I need to preserve in my office for the next 7 years? Now there's a logic. Say for example, in 28-29, client comes to me whose audit I did in 25-26. When I did the audit, and he came exactly 4 years later to my office and he started knocking my door and he said that, Rohit sir, do you remember you did my audit 4 years back? I said, yes. Sir, at that point of time, I'm very unhappy with your audit and extremely sorry to say, but your audit was completely useless. Because of you, GST and custom department and IT department are after me because you did not check my credentials properly. I said, Achha. Now please tell me, how should I defend myself against these negligence charges which my client is putting against me? I will ask him which year you are talking about. What is the year he is saying? I preserved that 25-26K file for the next what? 7 years. So do I open my cupboard? Do I have a file now? He told me you did not check my GST returns. When I opened that file, there are 12 months GST returns inside it. Now tell me, did they walk and came into my file? Who might have given me those returns? Client only. And that too, whose signatures are there on those papers? Client. Now will I be able to defend myself? That's the reason you need to preserve it and retain it in your office for the next what? 7 years. Now, once you will enter any CA in practice or CMA in practice office, more than people, you will find it cupboards in their office. In those cupboards, you will find these files, which they are preserving for the last what? 7 years. In the 8th year, institute says that you can dispose it. No problem. You can dispose in the which year? 8th year. But for the next 7 years, it should be lying in your office. That makes this file whose property? Auditors. Who is maintaining it for 7 years, this kachara? At whose office? Who maintain the confidentiality also? So it is whose property? Audit. So we call it ourselves as an absolute owner of these documentation papers. That's what we are going to learn in this cost audit documentation, right? And last May, I already told you, once our audit is over, what do we give? Cost audit report. Now here we are going to learn XBRL. I hope some of you might be knowing it. क्या होता है, मैं तुम्हें एक लॉजिक बताता हूँ. When practicing CA does the audit, he does the audit of financial statements. But when a practicing CMA does the audit, he does the audit of what? Which records? Cost record. Costing is a very confidential information of the client. Let me tell you one thing. If I'll go to Apple and I'll ask them, what is the selling price of this laptop? He will say, okay, written over there, na Google Pay we check. But can you check the costing of this Apple product? That is available on Google or not available? Costing is a sensitive information. Financials are not sensitive. अभी आप Google मारो, annual reports or audit report or financial statement of any company on the Google it is available. But you Google it, Coal India Limited ka cost statement, not available. Costing is a very sensitive information. That's why Government of India has made a rule. You will never issue a cost audit report in a readable form. Human readable form में नहीं आएगी. It will be in the encrypted form. Which form? Code language. We call it as costing taxonomy. What do we call it as? Now, sir, if it will not be in a readable form, then how we will read the costing aspect of the client? The person who wants to read it must have a key to decrypt the encrypted folder. I will give you encrypted report. Which report? You will have a key to decrypt that encrypted thing. So if you have a key, it means you are a right person to check my what? Costing info. That means banks, when we take a loan. That means MCA. What is MCA? Ministry of? They have the public keys. Are you getting the point? So we file it in a which language? Code language. That code language ka software is known as what? XBR. Extensible Business Reporting Language. Nowadays, financial statements are also being filed in XBRL, but for the listed company. But costing, even if it is the smallest to small company or the biggest to big company, they cannot display their costing information on Google. It can never be available on public domain. It is a confidential, sensitive information, has to be in which form? XBRL form. We call it as Extensible Business Reporting Language, right? So that will bring an end to your how much? 50 marks of portion that is going to be called as what? Cost audit. I hope you got the clarity. What is the next audit we have? Management audit, which is going to be in your examination for 25 marks. So first of all, so let us understand what do you mean by the term called what? Management audit. Okay, let me tell you one very simple logic to make you understand this concept. How many of you know about this person called internal auditor? Internal auditor is a person who is appointed by the company throughout the year for doing their audit for 365 days. Basically, he is a puppet of whom? Management. But nowadays, internal audit concept has widened. Internal audit has two concepts. One is known as management audit, and next one is our next topic called what? Operational audit. What do you mean by management audit? What do you mean by operational audit? Simple language में audit of management. Sir, ये तो we can also understand management audit is audit of what? But what do you mean by audit of management? Let's start with a simple example. Sundar Pichai. You know Sundar Pichai, right? What is his salary package? Almost 1300 to 1400 crores per annum. Are you getting the point? That much of salary he is getting. Google is paying single person this much of salary. What is the reason? Is he so handsome? Or he's an Indian? Or it's because of his ability, effectiveness and efficiency? Am I correct? Can I call that that person is a superb intellectual individual, that's why he's getting that much of salary? But Google will pay him only till the time he is useful to Google. The day when the Google will realize someone is better than Sundar Pichai available in the market, they will replace this CEO with the what? Another CEO. But when is that time? That time comes when the companies conduct management audit. Which audit? अब बताओ, what do you mean by management audit in the bracket what I wrote? Audit of man. What do you mean by audit of management? One management auditor practicing CMA will be hired. He'll be told कि suppose you are all my board of directors and KMP, CEO, senior level management people. I will conduct audit on you people. Who is efficient? Who is inefficient? So I will replace inefficient people with what? Efficient. But who is letting me know as a chairman Who is efficient, who is inefficient? There is one auditor. This auditor is known as what? Management auditor. So he will do the audit on my what? Management. He will tell me who is performing well, who is not performing well. It's time to replace, or it's time to promote, or it's time to demote, or it's time to throw out or lay off. This person tells. We call that as which audit? Management. Audit of human beings is nothing but called what? But at which level? Top level, higher level management. What is the next audit we have? Operational audit का मतलब क्या हुआ? What do you mean by operational audit? This is an audit at factory level. Which level? तो operational auditor क्या करेगा? He will go to the factory. Tell me one thing. What is required to run a factory? Men, machine, money. What do we need? Men, machine, money. Material comes under men. So men we call it as what? Human resource. Which resource? Money, financial resource. And machine and material? Physical resource. So what are the three types of resources you need to run a factory? Human resource, physical resource, financial resource. Now once you will buy all these resources, are you getting the point? You would like to achieve triple E in them. What you would like to achieve? Triple E. We call it as economy. We call it as efficiency. And we call it as effectiveness. What are the triple E stands for? Let me put it in a very simple way. What do you mean by economy? Suppose my factory needs 100 crores of loan. I have two banks. One is offering me at 6% and one is offering me at 5.5%. Where should I take the loan from? 6% or 5.5? What made you say that decision? Said it will be more cheaper if I'll buy the loan at what? That is called economy. Taking the economical decisions. Are you getting the point? But what happened in my factory? I took a loan at the rate of what? 6%. So operational auditor came and he realized that this company is taking economical decision or uneconomical decision. That is what do we call operational audit. Are you taking economical decisions or not? When I have an option of hiring an engineer at 2 CR per annum and there's one another engineer, same statute, same respect, same qualification, 3.5 CR she is asking. Whom should I hire? 2 CR or 3.5 CR? Again, a which decision? Economical. So we call it as E number 1, economy. That is the first point of doing the which audit? Operational. What is the second word? Efficient. Okay. Now let's say for example, Bhaskar sir calls me and says that, Rohit sir, you work in my institute for 8 hours and I'll give you 5 lakh rupees per month. How much he will give me? So I kept my 8 hours with him and he will give me 5 lakh rupees per month. But he is only allotting me 4 hours of classes. How many? Remaining 4 hours I am sitting idle. Will I take half salary? Or I'll take full salary? Did I give my availability to you? How many hours? Are you utilizing or not utilizing? Am I being overutilized or underutilized? That is called inefficiency. That is called what? Let's say for example, I needed 500 crores of loan. Only needed how much? 500. But I took 1000 crores of loan. How much I needed? How much I got? Should I take 500 or 1000 loan? I should take what? 500 crores ka loan. But how much I took? Do the bank will start charging the interest only on 500 or total 1000? Inefficient decision. Keeping the money idle, keeping your men idle and keeping your machine idle shows your inefficiency. अब ये जो machine है, this machine can run for 20 hours in a day. How many? I'm only using this machine for production for 13 hours a day. How many hours I'm keeping it idle? When it can work for 20 hours, but I'm using it only for. So am I using only and only 65% capacity? Remaining 35% is what? Idle. If I'll convert 65 into 100, will I be producing more or less? Inefficiency. So what is the first E? Economy. What is the second E? And what is the third E? Effectiveness का मतलब क्या होता है? Doing the things on time. अब let's say for example, there is one company A. They took a project for national highway. And they told that, sir, in the next 5 years, we'll construct 1500 kilometers of national highway. How many? In how many years? It's been 10 years, they have constructed only 600 kilometers. Now tell me, did you complete project on time or delayed? That shows your ineffectiveness. So when you do not do the things in time and in cost, that is called ineffectiveness. When you keep your resources idle, that is called inefficiency. When you don't take a right decisions, that is called what? Economy. All these three put together is known as which audit? Operational audit. That is what is your next two topics, management audit and what? Operation. They are being given in two separate chapters, but I told you the meaning. Did you get the point? So what is audit of management? Management audit. Management audit is audit of. What is audit for management? Operational. One is audit of management, one is audit for the management. Management sent you to the factory and told, Rohit, I am unable to see where I'm lacking in economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. You go to my factory and tell me where these three triple E are not working. So I will be calling myself as an operational audit. But when he's saying, I don't know which manager to leave, I don't know which manager to promote, which manager to demote, now he's hiring me as a management audit. And they both are the new fields in which practicing CMAs are entering. Management audit and operational audit. This is also highly remunerative thing which is available in the market. This is completely a practical chapter that is called management reporting and issues. Management audit in which functions? Different functions. Matlab different areas mein. How to do management audit in sales department. How to do management audit in marketing. How to do management audit in logistics. How to do the management audit in production. So read the heading. What is the name of the chapter? Management audit in different what? Functions. Management audit in sales, management audit in purchase, management audit in stock, management audit in ROC filings. So this is called management audit in different functions. What is the next chapter? This is nothing but your SM. What is SM? Strategic. छोटा सा topic है कि what do you, how do we evaluate? अच्छा पहले तो ये बताओ, what do you mean by image? What do you understand by the term called image? Image means your goodwill, your brand value. That is what we are going to understand, how company's image is being calculated. That's why the chapter name is evaluation of what? Corporate image. Is it clear? 100% clarity. Now what is the next chapter? Information system and which audit? Security. What is ISSA? Full form? How many of you know that this is one of the course in your portion? Now, after getting qualified, and let me tell you one thing, good news is that Institute of Cost and Management Accountants of India has introduced this course actually. DISSA. DISA is in CA Institute. DISSA is in the CMA Institute. Both are equally same institutes only. Both are equally same courses. But in your course, something extra is there. What is Diploma in Information System and Security Audit? What is the full form? Diploma in. This is Diploma in Information System Audit. I'll tell you what is the difference. You are not only, let's say for example, RBI hires you to go to SBI and do its IT audit. Which audit? So they will not give any chance to normal CMA. They will only give this chance to a CMA who is also done with what? DISSA course. After doing DISSA course, you can call yourself as a CMA, your name, in the bracket you can write ISA auditor. Which auditor? Information System and Security Auditor. Now what is the relevance of that? Let's say for example, you know that bank may we do UPI transaction, right? Banks is keeping our information very enclosed. We go to the banks and check their IT controls. What do we check? IT control and IT security systems. Is the bank actually secured or not? Is the customer's data secured or not? Customer's money secured or not? Customer's KYC secured or not? For that, you have one chapter. What is the name of the chapter? ISSA. What is ISSA? Information System. Did you get the point or not? So this is what is the chapter in your portion. Very simple, IT based chapter, but not similar to your IT security controls which you have done over there. But it is very simple chapter. Basically, it is connected to banking sector. Which sector? And the thing which I was about to tell you, that CMA Institute has made it like optional for you. You can do it before getting qualified also. and you can do it after getting qualified. Are you getting the point? So in case right now also, if you want to enroll for this course, you can in the institute. So you can do it before getting qualified or after. But I think in today's environment, if you're going for the employment, neither any client will give you any audit, nor any employer will give you employment if you are not done with this course. Let me ask you a very simple question. How many of you know about ERP, SAP, and Tally? Tally to pata hi hoga. Now please tell me how many companies nowadays are preparing their books of accounts in manual form? Everyone is preparing in what? Electronic form. Which form? Either they are using Tally, QuickBooks, or SAP, ERP, or big modules, big softwares. Why they will hire you when they have someone who is ISSA auditor? So अगर मेरे पास choice है CMA with ISSA and CMA without ISSA, whom should I hire? That is a basic need of today if you are getting qualified. See, jump is simple. If you are getting 13 to 14 lakhs of package without DISA, you will reach to 20 lakhs immediately in the first stage only. Exactly a jump of 30-40% from your base package. If you are a CMA with DISSA course. Are you getting the point? So we call it as Diploma in Information System and Security. Little bit of agar IT knowledge you have, or little bit of the knowledge which they will provide you will gain, you will have the upper hand over the another CMA who is not qualified in ISSA. So that's what makes you different from a normal CMA. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. What is that? So total 50 marks of which audit you have? Cost audit. And 25 marks of what? Management. What is the next audit you have? Internal control, internal audit, and what? Operational. Meaning I already told you, acha, internal audit, you already have an idea little bit of that. We'll not talk on that. What is this? Internal controls. What is the meaning of internal controls? What do you understand by the term called internal controls? It's a very simple thing. Anything you do to safeguard your assets is known as what? Internal. Do we have a lock on our phones? Lock on this laptop and iPad? These are my what? Internal control. Like, do you lock your house before leaving? That is your which? Internal control. Do we keep the jewelry on a jewelry box or do we keep it in a kitchen shelf? In a locked device? That is your which system? So anything you do to safeguard your assets, that is called which system? And whether my internal control systems are good or not, who will tell me? That's why company hires a which auditor. Let's say for example, there's a jewelry shop. There are 60 cameras in the jewelry shop. How many? But only 30 are working. 30 are not working. Nothing means. Chances of frauds and error. Higher or lower? Because of poor ICS. What is poor ICS? Poor internal control system. Did you get the point? So internal control system is an integral part of every company which has to be done superbly. But if I will install my internal control system, I will never come to know whether they're working good or not. That's why I need to hire a which auditor, whom I only hired to let me know whether my internal control systems are working or. Read the next one. Operational audit, internal audit under which act? And this chapter, I hope all of you know this chapter already at your intermediate level. Do you remember last week chapter, the audit of different entities? What was there in that chapter? Cinema hall, hospital, cooperative society, school, college, university, amusement park. All those topics were there, na? Same copy paste chapter you have. Now, only the name is changed. What is the name? Audit of different service organizations. Same cooperative society, government audit, cinema hall, NGO, trust, all those audits are there, right? And there comes, this is in your examination going to come for how many marks? 15 marks, right? So 50, 25, 15 makes it to 90. The D section, which is going to come in your examination, is forensic audit and, okay, what do you mean by forensic audit? Any idea? CID you have seen? ACP Pradyuman. Acha, ACP Pradyuman ke saath there was one person called Saluke, who always used to wear white color gloves and pick up the blood stain or hair, 2-3 common thing, knife, and he will put it in one bag and go to one lab. What is that lab called? Forensic lab. What he used to do, red color with yellow color, mix it and green color. He's telling, he's the killer. That is what he was doing now. Same way, we also have one branch of audit, which is known as what? Forensic audit. In the big companies, when the financial crimes have happened, who was that fraudster? How he did that fraud? What is the amount of fraud? What parties involved in that fraud? Company will never come to know until and unless we hire a which auditor? Forensic auditor. Forensic auditor क्या करता है? Forensic auditor goes to the financial crime site and he evaluates the situation and he brings it to the notice of the central government how this scam and scandal has happened, how it started, who was involved, what was the scheme, how many parties were involved, and how much money was involved. That is what you mean by which audit? Forensic audit. I hope you're getting the point. This is what do you mean by forensic audit. इसमें अपन क्या पढ़ेंगे? We are going to learn what is the institute for forensic audit, what are the industries where we are very popular, which services we can provide, how forensic audit takes place, steps involved in forensic audit, techniques of forensic audit. Are you getting the one? So many topics are there which we need to learn in the which audit? Forensic audit. And there you go. The last chapter which we have is known as Prevention of Money Laundering Act we have in the law. Now we are going to curb that money laundering. That's what the name of the chapter is, anti-money laundering. How the money laundering takes place? Anybody knows the 3 layers or 3 stages? Placement. First one is placement, layering, integration. What were the 3 layers? Basically, what is money laundering? Converting black money into what? What? By the converting the criminal proceeds into the what? Untainted money, or showing it as a legal proceeds. That is what you mean by money laundering. Hawala transaction. What do you call it as? How to stop that? That we are going to learn in audit. Not what is hawala. How to stop hawala. If you remember, in the law we have done FIUs, ED. What is ED? Enforcement. FIU, Financial Intelligence Units, Appellate Tribunal, Adjudicating Authority. All that. The second part of your law is being given in your auditing. We call it as NT. Put together, they are going to come for what? 10 marks. So this is what your total portion of your cost and management audit, divided into 4 sections, 50 marks of cost audit, 25 marks of management audit. Then we have a 15 marks of internal audit, internal control and operational. And last may we have 10 marks of 2 chapters. One is forensic audit, one is money laundering. Are you getting the point? Now, coming to the things what we are going to provide you, one concept book will be given to you. Right or not? Total, this is going to take almost 90 to 110 hours to complete your work, cost and management audit, in which one concept book will be given to you. Along with that, handwritten book will be given to you. Along with the workbook, solution book also will be given to you, where 3 booklets will be provided to you. Maybe 2 might be combined or 3 separately will be given, but these 3 areas will be covered here. Concept book, homework, handwritten and work solution book. Right or not? Going to be classes are going to be completely in English. I think all the subjects are going to be completely in English. 90 to 110 hours of coverage what we need on cost and management audit. And let me tell you one thing, group 4 may there are 2 subjects which are highly marks generated. One of them is what? Cost and management audit. बहुत limited portion है. They look these many chapters, but they're very small chapters. Very limited portion is there. And the good thing about that is practicals are repeatedly asked. Are you getting it? So not that much frequency of practicals also you have. You can easily get 65 to 70 marks in what? CMAD. Second subject which you have is known as SPM, BV. These 2 subjects can compensate your marks for what? CFR as well as for what? IDT. Are you getting the point? So, like that opportunity, you don't have that in what? Group 3. Group 3 mein all the subjects are what? Very heavy, but compared to group 3, group 4 ke subjects are quite what? Lighter and quite more securing marks as compared to what? Group 3. Especially these 2 subjects called cost and management audit, and along with that what? SPM, BB. Are you getting the point? So let us start with the first topic. What is the first topic we are going to start with today is known as what? Basics of I will just tell you the basics only, what is the background and history of cost audit and all. That is what minimum you should know. Main section number 148, we are going to start from what? Tomorrow. So first we'll understand what? Basics of which audit? Cost audit. Just you need to start read what is the history and background. Can you start reading what is being given? Start reading everyone loudly. Concepts of costing and its principles are introduced when pre-independence. Now, what do you mean by that? Actually, costing is not a new topic. Costing is an old topic only. Are you getting the point? Pre-independence also, we had some costing concept, but that was not as popular as financial accounting. India में before 1965, when the cost audit was introduced, remember the word year? What is a year? 1965. Before 1965, India में there used to be one audit called financial audit only, statutory audit, which used to be done by whom? Practicing CAs. Pre-independence also, we had some presence of cost audit. Okay, so let us understand what they are saying is the genesis of cost audit में what is being written. Can you repeat the sentence number 1? Concepts of costing and its principles are introduced what? Pre-independent. So pre-independence means before independence 1947 also we had the costing concept, but at that point of time very limited industries were there on which government was concentrating and very limited contracts were given by the government when it comes to the costing. If you read the whole sentence, you will get what I'm trying to tell. Concept of costing and its principles were introduced when pre-independence, when the government was offering cost plus agreements and contracts to the different companies during the World War II because of its what? Increased demand. Now what has happened? You all know that World War I and II has happened. The biggest problem in the World War is destruction of economies. When the war takes place, the enemy never targets the civilians. They always target your infrastructure first. So when they destruct by bombarding your infrastructure, the first thing what they destruct is your manufacturing departments. Which department? Manufacturing. Your factories, your oil pumps, your infrastructure, your dams, canals, roads, highways, that they will destruct because that part of the nation is the most costliest part of the nation. Infrastructures, including manufacturing, production and all, those factories, they will blast like anything. Now, once these factories will be blasted and deconstructed, what will happen? The demand will be more and the supply will be what? Less. So what the government started doing, government was not capable enough to take care of the costing needs or manufacturing needs of Indian nation. What they started giving, they started inviting the private companies, okay, take this cost plus agreements. Take this which agreements? Cost plus agreements. Whatever the costing is there, plus add your margin and we will pay you the money. Are you getting that? The government had a trust on whom? Private companies and public companies. Ki, okay, we at a government are now incapable of doing the manufacturing. You only do the manufacturing and you only take care of everything. We will enter into cost plus agreements. What do we call? Your costing plus little bit of margin which you want to earn as a profit. So we will enter into a what? Agreement. Government gave these agreements to so many different companies. I mean, during the World War II because of its increased demand. Did you understand the first para? Can you start reading it again? What is the point? Concepts of costing and its principles were introduced when the government was offering. Government was not that much capable. They were offering cost plus agreements and contracts to the whom? To the different companies during the World War II because of its what? But what has happened? When these companies got the government contracts, they started doing scams and scandals. It means suppose the costing of this mic is hardly, say for example, 300 rupees, but they were increasing the cost and telling to the government 1300 rupees. So they started charging invariably very high cost from the whom? Government. Then government realized that these companies are doing the fraud. Why? Because there is no eye on them. No one is watching them. Then government realized that let's, like a financial audit, let us also introduce a which audit? Cost audit. Like a financial audit is an audit on financial statements, let's hire a practicing CMA and let him do the cost audit on cost records of the company, so that government will not end up paying unjustified cost of what? Production. So 300 rupees ka mic, if you are getting sold for 1300 rupees, now tell me, is it justified cost or unjustified? That's what government realized, ki so many scams and scandals are happening in this cost plus agreements. Can you start reading the second para? What is the second para? Read. But certain companies were involved in what? Scams and scandals. Whom they were scamming? They were scamming the government. Because government was not watching them. Government had a trust on you. And that too during the World War II, government was more concentrating on rebuilding the nation rather than doing the audit on you. But what these companies did? These companies took the undue advantage in the name of government not being watching them, and they started doing scams and scandals. And in the form of what? Read this word. Unjustified increase in what? Cost of production. So 10x, 20x amount they started charging from the government. Then government realized that okay, there is a problem, there's a gap. Now what is that gap? Due to which government introduced two commissions. Matlab government introduced two special team. What are the team? Vivian Bose Commission and Datta Commission. What are the two names you have to remember? Vivian Bose and Datta Commission. They were the two expert groups which were made by the home government. Please identify what we can do to stop these scams and scandals. So what were the name of the two commissions? Vivian Bose and Datta Commission were organized to look into what matters, due to which government realized that costing is also which concept? Unique and what? Important concept, like what? Financial accounting and what? Financial auditing practices. Then government realized finally, okay, now along with the financial audit, cost audit should also be what? Introduced as one of the discipline or a subject matter. This is how birth of the cost audit took place. So it started pre-independence only, when the World War II has happened. But then government realized that these companies are charging what? High cost of production. Government created two commissions. What are the name? Vivian Bose and Datta Commission, to look into the matters. What is the reason behind these scams and scandal? Then they realized that costing is the most ignored area. Everyone is talking about financial, but the costing was the most ignored area. Ultimately, tell me how the selling price is determined. Cost plus profit. Are you getting the point? So everyone was concentrating on what? Profit. But no one was concentrating on what? Cost. That's where the loophole government found with the help of these two commissions. And then they realized the last line. What is the last line written? Costing is a unique and important concept, like a financial or auditing practice, financial accounting, and that's how the birth of the cost audit has taken place. Did you understand brief? Are you getting? I'm just telling the brief just to make you understand keyword. And let me tell you one thing: cement industry was the first industry on which cost audit was first time conducted. Which industry? Cement industry. Just remember that cement was the first industry on which cost audit was introduced. Now let's understand what is the evolution of this particular institute, right? First of all, can you read the year 1944? 1944 में what happened? Read. 1944 में ICAIW was not your institute. It was incorporated as a company. Institute of Cost and Work Accountants of India Limited. What was the name of the company? Institute of Cost and Work Accountants of India Limited. So it was never incorporated as a statute. It was first incorporated as a company in the year 1944. Now read this point. ICA was incorporated under Companies Act 1913. At that Companies Act 1956 came later now. We are in which year? So right now which act is going on? 2000, right now 2013. Before that 1956. Before that 1913. Before that, 1882, then 1866 and 1844. This is the history background of which act? So in 1944, which act was going on? Companies Act. 1913 was going on, and we incorporated ICWAIL. What is that? Limited company. Did you get the point? Then government realized, with this limited company, things are not working out. Then what happened in 1959? Abhi bhi cost audit was not introduced. 1959 में they converted ICWAIL to an act under the act of what? Parliament. I hope you know that India mein there are two places where we can construct an act. One is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha ka parliament, and one is Vidhan Sabha. What is the next one? State Legislative Assembly. Which assembly? So this was a pan-India act. This was applicable to whole of India. So it was made under the act of parliament. That's why in your institutes material, in the front page only, you will see Institute of Chartered Account, Institute of Cost and Management Accountants of India. Bracket mein what? Set up under the act of parliament. That happened in 1959. Which year mein? So read this point. 1959 mein what happened? The ICAIW Act was enacted under the act of what? So company got converted into act by the act of parliament. So tell me, 1944 mein, it was a company made under which act? Companies Act 1913. Then later on converted into an act. In which year? 1959. Are you getting the point? What is the name of the act? Name of the act is not ICWA, it's CWA Act 1959. That's what I told you, professional ethics, one topic is there. So what is the name of that? CWA. Are you getting now? Cost and work account. Today we call ourselves as CMA, but olden days mein we used to call ourselves as CWA. What is CWA? Cost and Work Accountants Act under the Act of Parliament, year 1969. Then 1965 mein cost audit was introduced. On the which base? Turnover. I already told you cost audit is not like a statutory audit which is yearly based. It's a what? Turnover based. So 1965 mein finally first industry was a cement industry on which audit has happened? Cost audit. So tell me the three evolution years. 1944 it was incorporated as a company. 1959 company got changed into act by the act of parliament. Then 1965 mein cost audit was introduced on a which industry? Cement industry. So what was the first industry? Was a cement industry on which it was introduced. Clear? Now, next one, what happened from 1965 to 2008. Now, please tell me in the beginning of the session only, I told you how many industries do we have? 39. There used to be 44 earlier. Are you getting it? Can you read the year now? 1965 to what? 44 industries were covered under the which audit? Cost audit and cost records maintenance. Remember, cost audit is separate. Cost records are separate. We call it as CRA. Full form. Cost records and audit. Limits for cost records are separate. Limits for cost audit are what? Separate. They are not same. So these are two different concepts. We call it together CRA, but these two are separate concepts. CRA, cost, records and audit. Are you? So till 2008 we had how many industries? 44 industries. Then what the government did? Government in 2008 constituted one group. What is the name of the group? Expert group, to analyze the what? Existing system. It means government still felt that in 2008 we are lacking in something, or we are unnecessarily doing audits of so many industries. Let's reduce those 44 industries into what? 39. And then 2009 May, this expert group submitted its what? Report. So tell me so far the years and what has happened in those years. 1944, we incorporated ICWAI company under Companies Act 1913. Followed by that, we turned it into a act under the Act of Parliament in the year 1959. 1965 May, cost audit was introduced. The name of the industry where it was introduced was cement industry. Then 1965 to 2008, we had 44 industries under the cost audit and cost records maintenance rules. Then expert group was constituted in 2008 to look into the matter, and then expert group submitted its report in 2009, and in 2011 CRA rules were framed. What was framed? CRA rule. But let me tell you one thing what happened. You all know that 2011 mein which act was there? Companies Act 1956 got changed into Companies Act 2013. In which year? 2014 mein. 1st April 2014 में the Companies Act 1956 replaced by Companies Act 2013. That's how in 2014 11 wale rules got also what? Replaced. So now we don't call them as CRA rules 2011, we call them as CRA rules 2014. So these were renamed as what? CRA 2014, under which act? Companies Act 2013 was introduced. Did you get the point? So tell me, what is the total evolution you understood? What is the evolution? 44, 59, 65. 65 to 2008, 44 industry. 2008 में expert group. 2009 में expert group gave us report and brought it down to 39 industries. Then 2011 में 6 rules were framed, but due to the change in act from 1956 to what? 2013. CRA rules 2011 has been renamed as what? CRA rules 2014. And they kept on getting what? Amended, but year is still 2000. Now in future, if any Companies Act will change, then again these CRA rules will take the new year. But right now we have CRA rules 2014. How many rules we have? 6. How many cost accounting standards we have? 25. How many cost auditing and assurance standards we have? 4. How many industries we have? 39, out of which 6 are regulated, 33 are. Okay. How many forms we have? 4. And how many records we have? 30. Are you getting the point? Remaining will continue tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye everyone.